Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We went to movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained best pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the favorite bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large Marge Santa's podcast. Hey,
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Sent podcast, your favorite podcast where two sweetie sisters talk about movies that shaped their childhood. I'm Sweetie with an IE.
And I'm Sweetie with a Y.
And I'm back from my honeymoon.
Sweetie's a married woman. How do
And
you
I'm a married woman
feel?
now.
Do you feel different?
I feel pretty good. Carol asked me if I felt different, and I said kind of. I mean, I'm not changing my name, so there wasn't that big change. And like, what else is there to do? I mean, even I asked Jimmy, I'm like, are we supposed to do something? Like,
I don't know. In the old days, they moved in together and then got
Right.
all that house stuff. And I don't know, you know.
Right. It is a little different now. So we don't really feel that different, but it was an amazing day. We had so much fun. The weather was beautiful. So much love in the air. Sweetie did the most amazing maid of honor speech all around the Sweetie Club, which we should really like try to post for everyone because it was so perfect. And then we went on a honeymoon to the Smoky Mountains, and it was just
Was it
lovely.
smoky?
So it was smoky in the Smoky Mountains.
Not just a
believe
clever
it or not.
name.
I know. Yeah, it was cool down there if you've never been. Tennessee. Gatlinburg.
Tennessee.
Pigeon Forge.
Did you listen to that song called Tennessee? Tennessee.
No, but a really good one is this Dolly Parton song that's like, in my Tennessee mountain town home. Really cute. We had a whole road trip mix.
Cute.
Anywho, so we're back in a big way. And it is October, guys, believe it or not. How the hell is it October? September flew like this. And so that, you know what that means? Spooky season. Good old spooky season. So we're going to do spooky movies this whole month. And to be honest, we're reaching now because we've really done a lot of spooky movies. This is our 4th year of spooky, right?
I thought of a couple.
And, good. Yeah. So we're going to have some good ones, but we're definitely like coming nearly to the end of the childhood spooky films. So in light of that, we had to do one today that really was one that wasn't our childhood spooky favorite by
Not
any
at all.
means, but was my new husband's Sweetie Jimi. Welcome to the podcast, Sweetie Jimi.
Thank you very much, sweeties. I'm just stopping in for this one.
Cool.
This is
So-
this is one of my childhood favorites.
Wow.
And I think you need to introduce it because we didn't introduce
Okay.
it.
The movie
Oh, okay.
is
The movie is
Ernest
Scared
Stupid.
Good job, guys. Wow, 3 people doing it. Kind of difficult.
Oh, gross.
Whoa, menage a trois. Ew. Gross. She's my sister. Yes. So we decided to cover Ernest Scared Stupid, one of the movies in the Ernest series, which, like we said, we have never seen. Sweeties here have never seen, but Jimmy told me today, quote unquote, I've seen it 50 times.
What?
At least
a lot of
25.
times.
Yeah.
We owned it on VHS.
All right.
My mom reminded me of that today when I told her that we were watching it, and that makes sense because I remember watching it
Weird.
at least 25 times,
That's
and not
weird.
just during the Halloween season. Yeah.
I
I don't know who got it or why we had it, but
But you
yeah,
were
I
scared
still
stupid.
remembered every scene, and it is scary. Yeah.
All right, so I guess my big question for you before you go off and do the dishes, married life, and what did you think of it now, 30 years later?
I thought it held up as far as how scary it was. A couple scenes went on a little too long, and Ernest definitely, he wasn't that funny even when I was a kid, but he's definitely not that funny now. He had a couple things that made me laugh, but
Okay. But why did you like it if you didn't think Ernest was funny when you were a kid?
Well, I thought he was kind of funny, but I liked the movie itself and the plot and the kids and the Halloween aspect of it a
Is
lot
Scared
more.
Stupid your favorite Ernest, or did you have another favorite Ernest?
Yeah, I told you. This is the only one I've seen. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I told Andre that, but this is the only Ernest movie that I've seen.
Wow.
I wouldn't mind seeing the Christmas movie, but
I've heard that's the
we
best
might have to
one.
do the. We might have to do the Christmas one because we're gonna run out of Christmas ones too. So maybe we'll do the
I don't
Saves
know
Christmas.
if I
Ernest
can-
Saves Christmas.
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd almost rather be punched in the face 25 times than see this 25 times.
It's a lot of Ernest, to be honest.
yeah.
no, we were way more into the plot and the kids. We were about the same age, and it being a Halloween movie.
Yeah.
And the trolls were scary.
They were.
Oh, we'll talk all about that.
I'm sure you will.
Don't you worry.
Yeah, so
Very spooky.
that is, I remember that a lot more than Ernest himself.
Yeah.
'Cause, yeah, he's all right, you know.
Yeah, he's dummy.
So, Sweetie Jimi, then what is your Jimmy Jam star rating? Or no, we do letters for you. What is your Jimmy Jam's letter rating for Ernest Scared Stupid?
For me,
yeah.
probably. I mean, nostalgia, but B plus.
All right.
Yeah, I
All
thought
right.
I was still into it.
Yeah, you really
Yeah,
were. I
I
mean,
was
you were cracking up as a witness. You were cracking up. You rewound a scene because some kid ran funny. I was looking at my phone, and then we had to start the movie all over again because we couldn't figure out like the rewind function on like the Amazon Prime. It like went, kept jumping around. It was crazy. So we watched the beginning twice, but I feel like you were into it. So I agree. You totally B plus.
Wow.
It's a B plus for you.
B plus.
Go Ernest.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's definitely one of the movies I've seen most of, which is sad because I don't watch movies twice that often.
Right.
Never mind 25.
Right. It really shaped your childhood, honey.
It did.
Yeah.
So it's a Jimmy Jam.
It's a Jimmy Jam, guys.
There's not gonna be too many because there isn't too many, but
Yeah.
this is definitely one of them.
Yeah. All right, Jimmy. It was great having you on the podcast. I'm going to let you go. And I'll see you in a little bit.
Woo.
Okay.
All right.
Don't do the
Love you.
dishes too loudly.
Oh,
Bye bye. Sweetie Jimi.
My husband, everybody.
My sweetie.
Oh, just hold on. Let me switch my headphones here.
Hang up. Sweetie hung up
I
on
know.
me twice by accident before we started, so
I didn't.
I'm a little stressed out. Oh, right, Jimmy did. Well, I said
Yeah.
Sweetie. I could have meant him.
It could have
It's
been him.
confusing now. There's three.
There's so many.
But yeah,
yes.
this was interesting for me.
Yeah. So, okay. So going back to the whole Ernest thing. So, as I said, Sweetie's, Andre and myself we obviously were aware of Ernest in the cultural like zeitgeist of like being a child during this time, but never like watched any of the movies. Obviously like knew who that guy was. Could reckon if you showed me a photo of him, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's Ernest. But never seen any of these movies. Never have seen even scenes, I think.
Yeah, same.
Like literally don't know anything. And Sweetie, you can speak to the one reference we have in terms of this movie.
Okay.
Because it's a good one.
The story is the movie store down the street from our house that we used to like walk to was super cute.
Idle
Times video.
Shout out to Jeannie at Idle Times. Hope you're still alive.
I remember just like vividly when I was little looking for movies with our dad and then like picking up. This is the store where they would have like the VHS cover with like a empty box stuffed in it so that you just have the covers, right? So you look at all the covers and then I pick up this one that's like Ernest Scared Stupid. But I picked it up because there was like a yellow Post-it note on the cover and the Post-it note said, "Too scary for kids!" exclamation point. And I was like, whoa. Never
Feed.
have I seen that.
Some editorializing
so,
bullshit in the movie store.
I mean, obviously I stayed far away from that movie. Obviously.
Because it was in the kids section, correct?
Well, I maintain that it's a kids movie. Like I like it involves kids. The humor is 100% child humor. Like I don't know any adults that would watch this and find that hysterical, unless you were like,
Right.
I don't know, very uneducated
Right.
person in a state that maybe Ernest lives in. But but it's rated PG, so it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like, yeah, looking back on it now, I'm like, wow, I'm like, that's not fair. Like, you should let the kids decide if it's too scary for
Well,
them.
I mean, right. And I don't know, like, what level.
Maybe I bet somebody complained and was like,
Yeah.
I can't have nightmares about this terrifying troll.
Well, I think if you were under maybe the age of 10, you would. So the thing with this movie was this was a pretty big franchise, and it was under the Disney umbrella. So they made a deal with Jim Vernon? What's that guy's name? Jim Varney. For this, he had made this Ernest character, and they made like a 4-picture deal with him. So it was the first one, Ernest Goes to Camp, and then Ernest Saves Christmas, and then Ernest Goes to Jail. So this was the 4th one, and they had done very well. And then this one came along, and it didn't do as well. People think because it was too scary. And I don't know, rumor got around and kids started getting freaked out, and it wasn't like the kind of innocence of the other Ernest ones, I guess. And so they dumped him, and he did like a bunch of other ones, but they were under like an independent umbrella or something.
Say, aren't
so
there
it wasn't
like 20?
Yeah. I'll go over them. But I would say, I think it's just the imagery of the troll that is really scary and would create like crazy nightmares. And I felt like that one scene where the girl's looking under the bed and like it's like, oh, teddy bear, it's just you. And then she like turns around. I mean, classic horror movie, like
100% stolen from Poltergeist, whatever.
Yeah.
But,
definitely.
Yeah, there's
but,
that.
But that was like kind of scary.
People always would tell me about a scene with the troll and like the truck. And I was always like, oh, okay, I don't know what that means. But like, whatever. And I think, now I'm having a memory that Dad like asked Jeannie at the Idle Time store, like, why is this so scary? And she was like, a troll like pops out of the sky at the truck or something. I don't know. And like, and I was like, what? That's crazy. And then and
when he was like stabbing it with like that sword he had, like, the whole truck scene was pretty intense. And just the fact that like kids are getting turned into wooden dolls. I don't know. It's like pretty scary. I mean, I would say to a point like The Witches, very scary movie. Like that would give any kid nightmares. It's a kid's movie, but very, very scary. So like along those lines, like you have to really be careful which kids you show it to. If your kid likes, creepy things, gross out things, like maybe that would be okay. But if they're at all sensitive, I'd be like, hello, nightmares for years with Ernest Scared Stupid. What else was I going to say with that? Dang, I forget. Okay, so so that's where I feel like it lies with like too scary for kids, for sure. So along the lines of the scary troll, that makes this the most scary. So you will love this. The effects were done by the same guys who did Killer Clowns.
Okay.
The Chiodo brothers, and they used the clowns at the end.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
Stripped down clowns were the trolls.
Okay, I was gonna say that sometimes the trolls reminded me of Killer Clowns. And just like the general usage of like a horn instrument in the soundtrack also. I was like, whoa, this is weird.
Well, they did the effects,
well, I know,
I guess.
But like,
so,
it just like it did remind me of Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Just that like kooky, like
definitely
like
right.
It just annoys me. But that's funny. Good trivia fact.
Yeah, really good. This is from 1991, so it's got some good like late 80s, kind of early 90s stuff that we'll probably go over. I wrote down a couple. And in general, like I'd like to see the other ones because I thought like, I don't know, let's say I warmed to Ernest by the end. Like, my brand of comedy is definitely not like dumb person is funny. It's just not. And I know that is some people's, but I feel like Ernest has a good heart and, he meant well and he kind of grew on me by the end.
Wow.
It's only an hour and a half, so it goes by pretty quick, though it felt kind of long in that sense of like, like, okay, when are they going to kill these fucking trolls?
Kill the fucking trolls already.
And like the annoying thing about dumb comedy like that is that you're just like, oh, come on. Like, once he's like really struggles to get the idea that like milk kills the trolls and like the Mayak thing, I was like, oh God, you know, you're just like, get the net.
Wait, the
like it's
Mayak
just like
was milk,
yes,
but why? It was like
so in like the
brown.
spell book.
Oh,
No. In the spell book, it said you can kill trolls with it said
milk?
MI blank K,
Oh.
and he was like, it's got to be Mayak, and then he shows up with like a jar of Mayak. I don't even know what that is.
he like invented. What a dummy!
It was so weird.
that's-
And then the little boy, you know, finds out it's milk or
that
whatever.
stuff is that stuff is too much. And like for
Yeah.
me, it's the slapstick or something that just like gets old super fast. And like I just don't. It's just such an obvious kind of humor that it like offends me as a humorous person. Like.
Well, and even as a kid, I feel like that just
That
wasn't
wasn't
our
our
brand
thing.
of comedy.
Yeah.
It just if it was, that's totally fine. Like I know that's just some people
We
like
like
love slapstick,
sophisticated.
and yeah. We were always just more the clever kind of
Yes,
comedy.
yes.
So to each their own, but I can see why kids would like this and kind of connect with Ernest and stuff like that. I mean, they said that guy. I mean, I have a lot of trivia facts about the guy, Jim Varney. He seemed like a really cool guy. All these kids on their like Make-A-Wish, you know, if you have cancer or whatever as a kid, and the Make-A-Wish Foundation lets you, if you have terminal illness, like have these wishes. So a lot of kids asked to meet Ernest, and he like met everyone, and was just so
Kids
like
asked
good.
to meet Ernest. That's so weird.
Yeah.
He, like,
Well, they loved the franchise.
it just kind of creeps me out. Like the franchise, the like Ernest in general creeps me out because he reminds me of like Wienerville. Remember that show on Nickelodeon that was like horrifying with the little puppets and like the real faces. It just like reminds me of that era or something, and I'm just like it makes me a little nauseous. But that's I guess that's sweet though. But yeah, he passed away in 2000. Very sad. He was also the voice of Slinky Dog in Toy Story. So that's I think where a lot of people know him now most from. So it's good that he reinvented himself.
Yeah, so I mean, interesting guy. So apparently he had like almost a genius IQ and was always like kind of offended that people thought like he was that actual character. I mean, he's from the South, so that is sort of like his real accent and stuff like that. He's from Tennessee or Kentucky, I think. And but he was really, really smart guy. He went to the LA Comedy Store, same place Robin Williams started out, and they were buds actually. And he started out in stand-up and stuff like that, and then made this character, basically, of Ernest Worrell, and started using it in, like, ad campaigns in Tennessee. I guess he was based in Nashville. Speaking of Smoky Mountains, that's not where Smoky Mountains, but Tennessee. Other side of the state. He started doing, like, cars and, like, different, you know, just local businesses around there, and then kind of got an agent, and then they just started making this character like bigger and bigger and bigger, and it just became this, you know, like this thing, like I don't know, like Larry the Cable Guy, like fucking Jeff Foxworthy redneck, you know, like you make this persona, and then it kind of like explodes. So then he was able, or like a Pee Wee Herman almost. He was like a redneck Pee Wee Herman. So he seemed like a really smart guy, and he, like, you can tell, like, they tried to fold that in here with all of his little, impressions, I guess, and like the multiple personality kind of thing where he puts on all these costumes and like and I did not get that part at all. It was like, it kept going like way out of left field. I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? The Ottomans? Like, who is this? So he has all these little characters, I guess he does. So again, it felt very like Pee Wee Herman-ish, which is more our brand of comedy, I'd say. He's a total like physical kind of comedian, like very similar to Robin Williams, just like the stuff he can kind of like do with his face. And there's like the whole opening credits is just like this weird spooky song with him just making various silent scream faces and being like "Rah, rah." And then at one point he does have like lip-syncing the song, a crazy like perfect face to do it, right? Because he has these like huge lips. His face seems like very malleable, like he's like almost like a putty face, like he's able to like move his face in all these different ways, and like extremely effective. So yeah, really cool guy. Seemed really nice. He had lung cancer, super heavy smoker. So unfortunately, yeah, died at the age of 50, I think they said.
Wow.
So bummer. I know. Seemed like a cool guy. Anyway, okay. So, yeah. And then, so lastly, just about the different Ernest movies. So like I said, it was Ernest Goes to Camp is the orig. Heard that's a very good. Ryan Ferguson said that's the best. Do that one.
Wow.
Ernest Saves Christmas. We might have to tackle
I heard
that
that one was
you
the
know,
best. I don't know.
Christmas coming up. And then Ernest Goes to Jail. Now, after that, it was like I said, independent sort of. They wanted to keep it going, but they didn't have the big Disney kind of branch to do it under. And it became Ernest Rides Again. Don't know what that's about. Could be anything, really. Sorry, let me just restart my thing here. Ernest Goes to School. Could probably tell you what that's about. Slam Dunk Ernest. Guess there's a basketball one. Shocked Jimmy has not seen that one. Shocked, I tell you. Ernest Goes to Africa. Getting worldly on us.
I shudder at the inappropriateness of that one.
Ernest in the Army. So there's a lot of Ernests. If you want to get some more and you feel like you've only seen a couple, there's many more out there. There's many compilations. There's many Ernest Greatest Hits. Sure, there's a couple albums out there. I mean, the guy was everywhere. Prolific.
Yeah. So that's that. No one else in this movie, that's for sure. Right. I thought the main kid looked very familiar, but apparently he's only been in two things. This and
is it because he has a square head?
Maybe. He just looks like another kid in a movie or something. I don't know. No, I thought
I could have sworn the Puddin' Pants bully was the little kid in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, like the little kids that come, like Randy Quaid's kids,
that kid
Spike or whatever.
I'm sorry, but so ugly, and his body was just
very
so
interesting,
strangely proportioned that I was like, what is happening?
He was a baby Puddin' Pants. I didn't know you could be a Puddin' Pants as a kid, but you can.
Yeah, did not care for him. But yeah, nobody of note in this.
Oh yeah, no. Eartha Kitt.
Yeah, Eartha Kitt.
I don't know how they got her to do this movie. She's clearly the best part of it. She killed it. Really, really good. But that's about it.
True. Yeah, I thought she'd be a bad person for a second. I was like, why does she have dolls? And then I was suspicious, and then I figured it out. But okay. But yeah, I mean, it'll be an interesting plot. I knew what was happening half the time. Mostly in my notes are just questions, which get answered by the end of the movie. So there's not a lot there. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens here.
We'll see what happens. Watch what happens with Sweetie. Okay. It's time for the Sweetie synopsis. Yeah.
Sweeties.
How about a bumper sandwich, booger lips? Close second. Hey, butt breath.
Ugh.
I love the PG the PG swear PG swears are always around butts and stuff and snots. That's all they can do.
It's pretty gross though. Briarville, Missouri. That's where our story starts, folks, a long time ago. There's some villager people. Sorry, there's a small girl who's running away from something. And I don't know if you noticed this, but I noticed that she was laughing and screaming.
Oh.
Not a good actress.
Oh.
Someone must have been just doing silly things instead of scaring her. And she was just
yeah.
and it was so weird. I was like, you're not doing it right. But anyways, apparently she was just bait for the villagers to catch this troll. So they put a net on him and they put him in a hole. And this reverend does some not incantation, a thing. Wait, if reverends can't do spells, what was that?
Kinda. I don't know.
It was weird. A ritual maybe. And seals him over this giant oak tree that no one can disturb or he'll come back or something. I'll say not a lot of protection around this cursed tree. Like in present day, it seems like they should have had some kind of like holy grail system, like in Indiana Jones, where like you have a protector.
Was it just behind the scary lady's house though? They did have to like go into like a weird area to find it though, didn't they?
Yeah, but it's like still like if all you need to do is disturb it to like
Yeah.
wake him, like what the hell is that? Like Hocus Pocus, you had to light a candle, say a thing, like whatever. But
Well, it was a little bit more involved in that
Yes.
because the troll, like,
right. So, anyways, troll under the tree. Remember that. Now we go to the present day Briarville, Missouri, where Ernest. I can't say his last name. Like that is the worst last name I've ever. Like
Worrell?
It's difficult for me. Rural. It's like the rural juror.
Worrell.
Juror.
It's like WORREL. Worrell.
Yeah, it's hard. But yeah, he is like a sanitation driver or whatever, and like recycles things. Works for the city. He has 3 child friends and a dog.
Always be suspect of
that's
people
why
who
I
have
was like,
only children
Why
friends.
is Ernest friends with children? And then I was like, is he friends with children in all the movies? Like, is that the thing that happens?
Yeah,
I guess
think
so. Like, if he went to camp, maybe not the prison one, but like,
and it feels like the adults. I mean, because he's kind of known as the town idiot, right? So it feels like the adults like don't trust him or like him. So that's kind of why kids are only the people who will hang out with him. Because kids are nice and not judgmental.
yeah.
Some of
Yep.
them.
So his friends' names are Kenny, Elizabeth, and what was that first kid's poor unfortunate soul's first name?
Yeah.
Forget. But yeah, they're like kind of buddies, and they hate these bullies in town. What are the bullies' names? Murdochs. Who are different ages but in the same class, I guess. I don't really get it.
They're the sons of the
Yeah.
mayor.
So they're like real bullies. So the kids are all excited because they're gonna like get the bullies back for being mean in their haunted house that they made. And then the bullies fucking come and destroy it, jerks, and they run away and they tell Ernest. They're like, "What are we gonna do?" And then this is when he goes on his like long, weird like ottoman ramp where he's in unfortunately brown face as like an ottoman, which or not? Are they called Ottomans? Or are they called like the Huns? No, the Ottomans are like
We're a different
Yeah.
thing, right?
yeah, but still like in like Asia kind of.
Well, they were like, what is they? Turkish,
Yeah.
right? Ottoman.
Yeah. So they decide they need to look for a tree to do a tree house. Ernest is like, I know where we could find some trees. So they go and like try to find the perfect tree. Ernest finds this really like old creepy tree. He's like, this is perfect. The kids start building like an amazing tree house. I don't know how. They're using like all the recycling that Ernest like collected or whatever. So then this like witch lady is like, don't she like knows he's gonna be the one that brings the curse back because his last name is the same name as like the Reverend or whatever. So she's like suspicious of him. But then when he goes to tell her that they found like, why does he do that again? He like runs off to like,
Well, he thinks they're in trouble because the tree's like on her property, so he's trying to like convince her, I guess, not to like let them still have the
'cause she had
treehouse
come
there or
in-
something.
she had wandered in and was
Yeah.
like, what have you done?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Right.
then he like went to go try to smooth things over. And apparently at this point, she tells him exactly how to wake up the troll, which I guess looking
Right.
back is what she wanted because that was the only way to bring back her kid doll friends as wooden dolls. But until just this moment, I was like, why did she tell him exactly how to do
Right.
it? Like, he's stupid. He's going to do it. So, yeah. So he like puts his hand on the thing and says some words and then the troll comes to life. So the rest of the movie is just like the troll kind of like picking the kids off one by one. And apparently when he does that, he likes to collect his children in the form of small wooden carvings of the child, which is like quite interesting. And then he like puts them in the tree and then these like gross, like, I don't know, what do you call those? Like pods?
What
Seed
Ernest
pods?
refers to as Brussels sprouts. I mean, they look like kind of little like little
Seed
pods, little like, but they're
Dangling
like
from
kind
the
of
tree.
gurgling
Yeah.
and pulsating and stuff.
But
Yeah, they're
there's this
pretty
whole,
nasty.
Like, prophecy that's like, oh, if he gets 5 children, his empire will grow or something, and then like the rest
So all those little
Yeah.
pods
All the
will
little-
turn to trolls, and they
will take over.
takes over the world.
Yeah.
So it's Halloween night, so he has till midnight to do this. So it's kind of like a time crunch for the troll too. So the troll doesn't waste any time, and he gets on it. So there's like that trio of kids, Ernest's friends, and the first one, kind of nerdy one, gets like picked off right away. Doesn't come home
stand
after
a
the
chance.
kids all. Yeah, doesn't come home after the kids kind of like separate, and then he gets one other kid like riding like by on a bike or something. He sneaks into the little girl's house and like is under her bed, like we said in that really scary scene, and gets her. And honestly, I was shocked that he was getting like the known kids. Usually in movies like this, it's like kids you don't know. But yeah, it was like kind of the central kids of the story. So I was like, whoa, this troll means business. And so then these kids are totally getting picked off, and he eats 5. So I think he has like 4 kids, and he's just about to get the main kid. What's his name? Kenny, yeah. So, before this, so Ernest kind of buddies up with the old lady who owned the house, and she is like, apparently was alive when like the troll was buried underneath the tree of that.
Which is wasn't... Wouldn't you say
I thought
that
it was
would be like the
1800s.
1800s? Yeah, why is she alive?
First of all, it's the 1800s. It's Missouri. Like she's a part of a black family who just lived in this like giant house in town. Great, but I just don't know if that's realistic. Not that there's a lot of realism in this movie. Anyway, I don't know why I'm complaining. But anyway, and then her brothers and sister were like one of the original kids taken from the trolls from this like 1890 period or whatever. So she's obviously very invested. So she like has all these books and like knows all this info. So she's like getting, kind of tutoring Ernest to how to catch this troll. Meanwhile, he goes to like the local like salespeople, con artists, and gets like $1,000 worth of troll gear. They just had like all these weird troll things that I guess they like created, like troll repellent and like troll bait and all this like shit. So he spends a ton of money, and then is like names himself like troll catcher number 1 or something like that. So he's like on a mission to catch this troll and save the kids, but he's stupid. So like, while he's kind of putzing around and making all these mistakes, all these kids are getting, turned into little wooden dolls. So as I said, Kenny is just about to get kind of turned into a troll, but he's able to escape somehow and like goes to his dad, who's the local sheriff.
Trolls?
And who?
The kids?
No, wooden dolls.
Oh.
Wooden dolls. Sorry.
I was like, is that what happened?
No. So he goes and finds his dad, who's the sheriff, and then at this moment, like, Ernest's troll alarm goes off, where he had like made this dumpster that said like "free kids in here."
Good way to catch a pedophile.
Yeah, and like the he has an alarm, so it goes off. So he thought he catches the troll, but really he just catches those 2 Murdoch bully kids. And so the adults are like, "Oh, like you're so dumb, like get out of here, Ernest, like blah blah blah," and then the adults don't believe them, right? So it's Halloween night. There's this big Halloween gala or whatever at the school, so all the kids are going there, and that's where the troll heads to, right?
He's like hiding backstage, and then kind of like bum rushes the stage and takes his last kid that he needs, which is the ugly bully kid. Then goes back to put the kid in the tree, and the parents finally realize there is a troll. So I guess the whole town kind of goes after the troll, right? But it's kind of too late because he has his last kid, so he puts in the tree, and then that's when all the other trolls start dropping down from the tree and turn into real trolls. And then there's just kind of like a half an hour long scene of trolls running around and like getting people, and then that kind of thing. Meanwhile, another part of the prophecy was like the only way to like get rid of them is like the childlike heart with the mother's care or something like that.
Yeah.
So all this time,
Unconditional love
yeah.
or
So like
something.
throughout the movie, there's all these like weird scenes where there just happens to be a bottle of milk around that like falls over near the troll, and then he like looks at it and then like runs away and he's gone. And I'm like, what? I'm like, why is the troll lactose intolerant and like doesn't want to get near this fucking milk? Like, what is going on? Took me way too long. And then finally the kid figures it out. Mother's care. And like, oh, milk. So the trolls like can't have the milk, like are they are
Allergic
lactose
to milk.
intolerant. When they get
Yeah.
milk on them, they disappear and zap into troll dust or whatever. So Kenny gets like the rest of the kids together. Even the bullies come together in a great turn, a great character arc. The brother who did not get taken is like now like, okay, let's do this and work together. Like just beautiful.
And who had a top-notch vampire Dracula costume. Really
All
enjoyed
the
it.
costumes,
He really,
probably the best.
he really nailed
one.
it.
I have an award for worst costume. Maybe
I think it's probably my best costume. I bet. Hold on, we'll go over it later because I keep laughing about it.
should we just say?
No, we'll do it at the
Oh
end.
boy. Okay. So yeah, so they go and like ransack this poor guy's grocery store who like is already having a terrible night because earlier the troll was in this store causing trouble, and now these little shits are running their bikes through stealing milk bottles. And they can't do anything
Why did they
about
have
it.
to ride their bikes in there? Why couldn't they have gone in on foot?
I don't know. Quicker escape to carry more milk in the baskets. I have no idea. But they load up on milk. They like steal a bunch of squirt guns. Fill up this. I can't think of anything worse than squirt guns loaded with milk, than like getting shot with it.
You're not cleaning those
Ew.
out. Okay. You gotta throw those out. They're gonna stink.
Yeah, so they're ready. They're got their ammo. They go out there and they like just start like hitting the trolls with the milk guns. They disappear. Now here's where I kind of things get a little fuzzy for me. I drifted off somewhere in, in minute 34 of the troll fight. But the main troll, like something happens and he gets like more gross things on his face or
Yeah.
whatever. Like why? What was that about?
I don't know. All of a sudden he was like in the tree, even though like all of his little troll minions are getting killed by the milk, right? And meanwhile, the troll battle is like pretty intense. I mean, you have trolls swallowing bullets and then like using themselves as guns, and like they had handcuffed the sheriff to the cop car, and they're like trying to shoot him
what?
with this like makeshift mouth gun that they made. It was like pretty scary. There's like a little girl in a car, and this one troll is like trying to go like on through the top of the car. I mean, like they have all these crazy weapons. They're able to like cut through everything. I mean, it's very intense. But as we said, the trolls are pretty much killed just by like a squirt of milk. And it's kind of funny because the kids brought like every iteration of milk, so they're killing them with like sour cream and yogurt and powdered milk and like ice cream. Like it's pretty funny. So yeah, so I don't know what happens, but the big troll ends up getting more power, and I thought it was like growing to this like crazy size, but it kind of just like crashed over the top of the tree, and it has like some like additional like tentacles hanging off of, and this is like one ugly looking troll. My notes I have, he had a flayed penis nose, if you will.
It was gross.
So it was like a penis cut in half and like split open like this, and his nose was always dripping. He had all these
Why was he
boils and
always
everything.
snotty?
He's pretty short too, which is like creepy in itself.
Yeah.
Like the way it
Short
ran
with
and
a
stuff.
Giant head. Like
Yeah, a giant head and like a big furry mane and gross tail. I mean, the thing was disgusting.
nasty.
I mean, they did a really good job in just the total gross out scary factor. I might even have nightmares tonight. I'm not sure. Yeah, totally crazy. But anyway, so it grows this immense proportions, and it or doesn't grow, but just like I don't even know, just like some light show, and these big tentacles are coming off. He has longer fingernails.
yeah.
And he's like, that's it. And he finally gets Kenny. Kenny was kind of like the last kid standing, and then he's able to like get him. And then he comes after Ernest, and he's like, that's it. Like, I'm going to kill you. And then Ernest suddenly realizes that he's like one carton of milk left and think that's going to do it. But then he hears the witch lady say, like, it's not about the milk. It's about like the heart of a child, unconditional love. And Ernest keeps repeating it to himself. And then somehow, even though he's an idiot, it dawns on him then that would mean that he has to love the troll instead of hate it. And this like love for the troll is what's going to kill it because the troll's so evil, I guess. I just did not get this part at all. Why was it just like the thing about the milk was like the connection to the mother love thing, and then suddenly it was more just like a love thing?
It doesn't make sense because it's not like you're flinging breast milk at the trolls cow. It's like what? Interesting. But yeah, he like he hugs him and then like kisses the troll on his flayed penis nose, as Sweetie says. And the troll just kind of like bursts in his like weird ghost flames that are like cartoon ghosts being like, ooh.
I don't know what those were.
Weird. That
Very
was some
strange,
worst
very
wish
strange.
level special effects.
Yeah, it was.
And then the troll's gone. And then the witch comes with her satchel of other wooden carved children and puts them in the tree. And then they get resurrected back to life or whatever. And all the kids that the troll took also come back to life. So, and the dog. Who was tragically turned into, I guess, a wooden dog. It looked like just a piece of wood. But rim shot, which I was like, oh my God. I was like, isn't that like a sexual? And I was like, no, that's rim job. But it's too close for comfort, in my opinion. That name is just like, oof, I don't know.
What does that even mean?
It's like the drum. I think it's like the comedy thing that's like, that thing, right?
Rim shot is a percussion technique used to pronounce an Yep, okay. But ching, you're right. So then that's it. Happy ending. All the kids are back. They defeated the trolls. Ernest gets rim shot back, and that's it. And the witch lady gets all her siblings back,
and they're like, "Why are you so?"
They're like, "Why are you so old? Why are you 100 years old?" Oh man, that was great.
Yeah, the two like random white kids that came along for that she brought back for the ride. Like, what? Leave them there.
For 2 seconds in my like overthinking mind, I'm like, Ernest is gonna adopt them.
No, I don't think anyone would give him children to take care of. So there's so a couple parts that kind of like, first of all, I think the scariest parts obviously are the troll, like you said. The scene where the little girl like checks under her bed, which by the way, that scene, LOL, because the mom was like such a bitch to her and she's like, stop acting like a little tiny baby. There's nothing under your bed. And I'm like, oh my God, it's not like she's like 18 years old. Like she's probably like, what, 8? Like, calm down.
Right.
And she must have felt real bad when all of a sudden her daughter was missing. That was pretty scary. I didn't expect it.
Oh,
and then
what I wanted to say, go ahead. Sorry,
is about the same scene or a different scene?
Yeah,
okay.
same scene.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, what I wanted to ask is like, why does she have an ensuite bathroom?
Kids were fancy. They were fancy.
What? What 8-year-old has a bathroom in their bedroom?
Was that in the scene?
Oh my God. Yes.
Why?
The door was open and the light was on, and there's a bathroom in her bedroom. It was nuts.
You know, some kids were fancy. I guess Elizabeth was one of them. She was rich.
Yeah.
But yeah, that scene, and then the scene when Ernest is, I mean, the troll just like keeps popping out of places unexpectedly and like really close up to his nasty troll face. But there's just a lot of like jumpy kind of scares, right? And like the other one is when Ernest is driving in the truck and then the troll like flies on the windshield and like is spitting this weird like green liquid out of his mouth. That was pretty scary.
Well, like I said, that he suddenly like has this crazy sword and is like almost like a legit horror movie, like stabbing through the top of the truck, and then he's like in the window and like his
sword.
I don't know. And suddenly you look at him and he has like a whole belt buckle with like a skull on it. He's like suddenly like a troll pirate. It's very weird. And he's like trying to attack him through the window, and like Rimshot is suddenly driving because like Ernest is on the other side of the truck.
I was like, okay, how do we teach Moose to do that?
Who's pressing the pedals?
Maybe it's like a contraption he like wired up. It was so funny. I was like, wow, he's pretty good though. Yeah. Pretty good driver Rimshot for being a tiny dog. I thought another really scary part was the very beginning when Ernest gets like stuck in the dump truck and is going to be like crushed to death. And you're like, this is scary. Like, I was scared. And I was like, is this a horror movie? Was the sticky note right? Like, is this too scary? And then
I had a flashback to Star Wars.
And
I mean,
definitely call back to that for sure. But then it seems like he does get squashed, except he's just part of the cube. But in real life, you're like, oh, he would be dead. But in this comedic children's movie, he just gets like sandwiched into the garbage cube, and you're like, oh, okay. But I mean, I hope that didn't make kids want to be like, let's go in the garbage truck so we can, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It really scared me. But yeah, I thought those were the scariest parts. And then the trolls were pretty scary in general. They just were like really creepy. Anything else scary that we're missing? Spooky?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's kind of, I mean, like I said, there's like a really gross component to this movie. So like obviously the troll is really gross, but then when the troll dies, or all the other little trolls die, they're like these piles of like nasty like goo. Yeah,
I thought they were just like yellow smoke.
No, then like there was like a puddle of like troll goo or something. I don't know. I mean, trolls are creepy, right? Because I mean, you really have like, I mean, it's amazing how trolls came about in the 90s, the cute ones, because I feel like there was like, between the real horror movie Troll, right?
Yep.
This one, and then just in general, just like trolls and the legends of trolls. Really, the marketing really turned those trolls around in the 90s, because man, those became cute real quick.
Right.
Because that, in general, trolls are gross.
I mean, I just assumed it was a different troll family, like a different species of troll. So it made sense to me.
You're a troll.
But yeah, but like also why is there a troll in Missouri? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, trolls are from like wherever. Switzerland, or no, like I don't know, Norway,
Scandinavia. Yeah.
So yeah, how did it get here? What's the deal? Just some questions, Okay. So I love a Halloween like dance or costume contest in a movie, right? Like,
right. We always say
live
that.
for those scenes. Our Sweetie and I's favorite thing is to just like write down the costumes that really like stick out to us. So typically in movies, you find a lot of like common stupid costumes, like ghost, vampire, witch. But usually, or in the case of most movies, there's a lot of like creativity in costumes. So this time though, I picked my worst costume. Sweetie picked her best costume. I bet it's the same costume.
I know, that's what's so funny. I don't know. We'll see.
Should we say it on three? One, two, three. Lady dressed as a pizza.
Okay, here's why I thought it was the best. / I'm kind of confused.
Okay, yeah.
Was she a pizza or a pizza delivery person?
Okay, I think she was a piece of pizza wearing a pizza hat.
It was too much for me, and it's like this weird scene where this girl is like upset. She has some like teddy bear costume and she doesn't want to go into the school, and she's, Mom, I hate this costume. And the mom's like, that's what you like picked out or whatever. So they have this fight, and then the girl makes up like, so sorry, Mom, I yelled at you, like, I love you. And then I'm like looking closely, I'm like, is that what it is? As a pizza, because she has pepperoni stuck all over her face, but then she has a pizza delivery uniform on.
Okay, no, I thought she was wearing clothes that made it look like she was the pizza, but like it was like vertical stripes, and then like on her shoulders she had like pizza shoulder pads, and then like a pizza hat like halfway off her head, like very stylish pizza hat. There's a lot of pizza in this movie. Who could forget the scene where they launch pizzas at the police?
Okay, I said to Jimmy, okay, that doesn't seem like a good weapon. An entire pie, entire pizza,
so stiff.
It didn't do anything. It just like bounced off of them.
Like,
I think they had to like. I think even the kids were like, what the fuck? Like, why are you shooting a whole pizza at me? But apparently those pizzas...
Pizza.
Oh, I know. Those pizzas were leftover props from a Ninja Turtle movie.
That makes sense because when they were fired, they were just like solid blocks of not real
Just, like,
pizza.
smack.
Yeah.
Oh, that was funny.
The kids were like covered in sauce. They're like, "We'll be back." You got him. Got him with the pizza launcher.
Shout out to the pizza lady. My best costume, Sweetie's worst. What are you gonna do?
I didn't
agree to disagree.
Yeah, there weren't many other like standouts. There's a lot of Native Americans, which I was like, ugh.
Yeah. Native American. I don't know if you noticed my second favorite was the old judge one, which was like had like toilet paper empty toilet paper rolls to make like a wig.
But like didn't look great. I was like, wow, that's very homemade.
Well, there were too many of them. It was like a really long wig.
It was too many, and it was way too long. It was like, you're not King Louis the 14th, like you're a judge. Or maybe he was. I don't know. And then, like Egyptian kind of, Cleopatra kind of people.
A genie, a genie. A ladybug I saw. The pumpkin one was like kind of intense. I don't know if you saw that one towards the end. Pirate one was pretty weak. There was just some lady in like a red witch costume. I'm like, okay, who?
Who's the red witch? Maybe the troll stole the pirate costume, and that's why he had a sword and a belt. Yeah. Is that where you got it?
Maybe. Oh, maybe because it was like in the costume contest.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe. I think it was before that though. I saw Raggedy Ann, a woman dressed as Raggedy Ann. Overall, the adults had better costumes. The kids' ones were pretty
Kenny
weak,
wasn't even wearing a costume. I was like,
Kenny wasn't even wearing one.
Disappointment.
Yeah. The Murdoch kids were like space astronauts or something. I don't know.
Space dinosaurs?
Lame.
I'm still confused about that.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
Nothing else really. Pizza really takes the cake.
Man.
Pizza cake.
One costume person was like, okay, the mom is going to be a pizza. I just couldn't get over the pepperoni
pizza
like
accessories
stuck on her face.
I thought it was like drawn on, and then there were like little black like, what was that? Like it was like pepperoni, but then like little green like peppers.
Maybe
it was.
She was the worst.
Strange. Okay. Anything else? What else?
Okay, so I have a couple '90s things that were like stood out to me. Convenience store pies. So they go into the convenience store and Ernest is picking out like all these snacks and everything, and he is just piling them in his arms, and he piles a bunch of what I'm calling convenience store pies, but basically they were those pies in like a sleeve, like a paper sleeve that you would get. No, not Table Talk, which was in a round box, but these are the ones that were like in a paper sleeve that would like show up in our lunch boxes. Now they had like cherry pie, apple pie, lemon pie, Boston cream pie, if you remember this, Sweetie. And I remember we would get them in our lunch boxes sometimes, and they were so big. Like I could not finish
have
them.
like a bite.
I could have like a bite, and I'd be like, too much. And I can't believe we were giving like little kids like these. I mean, it was like a big pie. I mean, to a kid, maybe it was bigger.
What's the brand on those?
Anyway, I don't know. I don't see those anymore. I feel like they were like all over the stores when we used to go when we were kids. So I feel like it was just kind of like a fad trend thing. I'm sure they still have them.
Okay, I think they were just Hostess.
Oh, okay.
Based on my Google search. Hostess fruit pie. They still have them. They just changed the packaging.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah, that's a good one. That's a good memory.
Pie times. Mushroom haircut. So Kenny, lead guy, has like an awesome like early 90s mushroom cut, which I just like love. You know, kind of that one that like hung down, kind of like my hair right now, Sweetie. But it was like shaved, like shaved here. So it just looked like a mushroom cap. Like your head was like the stalk and like the hair was the cap. You know, kind of like a bowl cut, but like not.
Yeah.
And then super soakers, which they fill with milk to kill the trolls, but big deal. Big deal in the 90s.
Soakers. Yeah, I agree. Not too many 90s things. I feel like it could have been more dated, but maybe because it was in like Missouri, this like small town, there wasn't like too much things like that. But I don't know. I'm just stuck looking at these pie images.
I know. God, it really takes you back. I can like taste that one. I feel like I like the apple pie the best. Whenever I got the Boston cream pie, I was like, oh, like for some reason I could not handle Boston cream pie when I was little. Too much cream.
What I just don't get is when it's like real fruit filling. Like, is it really though? Like, how can you
Kinda.
just lie?
There must be like a percentage that it needs to be real fruit that they can call it that.
Okay. Well, next time I go to the store, I'm gonna get one,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna eat it on the podcast.
Yeah.
goes.
I just want to
See
see
how
if, see if
it
they
goes.
hold up.
Well, anything else you have on this lovely?
No.
Spooky
Good one.
classic?
Good choice. Good Jimmy Jam. It was certainly entertaining. I'm glad we've been able to cover it earnest because I know it's important in some people's lives. And we got to have a little taste of that. As we said, we'll probably do the Christmas one too. But overall, like not too shabby. I was creeped out.
Wow. Interesting. All
Oh.
right. Well, what are your thoughts on Ernest Scared Stupid? Come find us on Twitter at the Sweetie Club or on Instagram at Large Marge. Send us. Thank you as always for listening. Bye.
Bye, troll rape
Trolls definitely rape
artist.